It's time for another hot take with your guy, Jonathan Mathis, the sports judge. It's Thursday, March 13th. Welcome to the channel. This is Speaking with Judgment. Thanks for checking out the content. The news that happened Tuesday, the big story was Daniel Jones, top 10 pick by the New York Giants in 2019, got a $40 million a year contract, got cut during the 2024 season, finished the year with the Minnesota Vikings. He was choosing between the Colts and the Vikings. Obviously, his pick was to go to Indianapolis, where he'll now compete for the starting job. It was an easy choice because had he stayed in Minnesota, he likely would have been number two, a quarterback backup to J.J. McCarthy. I heard over the weekend Jones had no desire to go back to Minnesota unless he was going to be the starter. That wasn't happening. So the only other thing for him was to go to a place where he has a chance to be a starting quarterback. He goes to Indy to compete with Anthony Richardson. 1 year deal, $14 million, $850,000 of it is tied up in per year game roster bonuses. Now, if he's injured and misses half of the season, he's going to lose $425,000. The act of doing this is sabotage. Daniel Jones signing is in the act itself. I'm not sure what the Colts are doing at quarterback. Nobody knows. What the hell are they doing? I'm not surprised by them doing something this silly that raises a lot of questions. If we were to embrace this, this would be interesting to watch for sure and see what happens going forward. The thing with that is that the Colts are straight up disrespecting Anthony Richardson. I'm kind of viewing this as though the Colts are not fully committed to Anthony Richardson. There's a lot of movement in the league, and the only thing the Colts were doing was looking at a quarterback. This tells me you clearly don't trust Anthony Richardson that much. It's a culture issue with the Colts. It is obvious the team lacks confidence and leadership. Outside of signing Giants hand-me-down quarterback, they have no clue how to run an organization, or they have no clue how to win as an organization. So how can we embrace this? It's always the same thing with the Colts. It's not shocking, but it is disappointing. The entire organization needs to take a good, hard look at itself from the top down. They have showed time and again they are a mismanaged football team, and this signing is the icing on the cake, and it really shows you that they constantly operate on the fly. And really, in the post-Manning era, their plans are consistently bad. Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen have screwed up Richardson's developing with all the mixed messaging. That's exactly why Indianapolis looks completely inept. A pattern of organizational failures. It is not how an NFL franchise should be run. It's unfair to the fans. At this point, I feel bad for Colts fans. I don't understand the Colts putting what's a second-year quarterback that was very openly known to need to develop in a quarterback battle and considering giving up on him. It makes no sense whatsoever. The middle finger is the one thing they're throwing at him. So now Daniel Jones is going to have a chance to compete with Anthony Richardson, and we'll see which guy wins. We're sitting here today talking about a guy who can lose his starting job to a quarterback who has never thrown for 3,300 yards in 6 NFL seasons, a guy who the last 2 years has thrown more interceptions than touchdowns. If Jones wanted to, he could have stayed in Minnesota and have a better chance of winning and probably be a backup. He looked at Indianapolis and feels he can beat Anthony Richardson out of the starting job. And the problem with Richardson is he's tricky. Maybe the trickiest player in the league because, for one, the failed development of Anthony Richardson and handling of the quarterback position from the Colts is the blueprint of what not to do with a talented quarterback prospect. Only one or two things can happen. Either Anthony Richardson, now under a lot of pressure, having to compete for his job, outperforms Daniel Jones to keep his job as the starter, or either he goes to the bench in favor of Daniel Jones. And if that's the case, well then, why the hell did you select Anthony Richardson with the 4th overall pick in the 2023 NFL draft? Both obviously want to play, and now there's a clear understanding going in that they'll need to earn it. I take it as an organization that doesn't know what it wants, and that's how I look at it. So I think looking at this, you get a sense that the Colts are uncertain about Anthony Richardson and now are willing to try out Daniel Jones. And if he outperforms Richardson, then there it is. Your new starting quarterback would be Jones. I'll say this. If Richardson loses his starting job to Jones, it might be the end of AR. These kind of quarterback controversies have happened a lot in the past. I really do think the whole thing with Anthony Richardson is a coaching problem, him being a project and no security blanket. You can't draft a guy and expect him to just magically be that guy. That's not how it works. Does anyone believe that Daniel Jones will be as good as Richardson? One thing certain that everybody understands by now is that Daniel Jones is a bust of epic proportions. It's weird. It's a weird time to let this situation play out only because they believe competition will produce the best performance from Richardson and Jones. I know for a fact that Jones isn't better than Richardson, who is looking to define himself after 2 seasons that have the Colts seemingly wondering if he's their future. For Jones, he's seeking to prove he is indeed a starting quarterback after the Giants dumped him and decided he was not. And for all we know, the Colts could have one of the worst quarterback rooms of all time. Both of these quarterbacks ranked dead last in passer rating for the 2024 season, and now they'll compete against each other in the Colts quarterback room. I hope Anthony Richardson figures this thing out, because I would hate to see him lose his starting job to Daniel Jones. I think it is a fair take to say no matter how bullish or bearish you are on Richardson, we can probably say he's going to play significantly better for people to take him seriously enough as a starting quarterback. We've seen the worst of Daniel Jones. He's a backup quarterback at best, because no one, even while he had that one playoff game where he was the second coming of Joe Montana, most people thought he was that he wasn't that type of quarterback that could take them to that next level. So he was just like a half of season loan for Minnesota, where he sat on the bench. And I don't think anyone thinks anything of this deal other than he's going to be on 3 other teams before his career is out. I would rather have Anthony Richardson than Daniel Jones. Richardson can be a good quarterback in this league if he keeps his body and mind conditioned. The thing that I want to bring back from last season, because all of you remember when he checked out of a game last season. And while I'm arguing that Richardson is the better quarterback than Jones, obviously, I had never seen that before in my life of a quarterback where he checks himself out of the game because his excuse is that he was tired. It makes me think that he's not the future. Like, his and Jones' numbers are really so damn close, but I don't think you give up on Richardson. To me, the signing of Daniel Jones comes off as not having a plan. There's no reason to be wishy-washy about it. I really don't understand. Either AR starts or he's cut. And if you're not going to stick with AR, then draft a quarterback and just bottom out this year, because I can tell you that Daniel Jones does not take this team to any higher ceiling to contend. What are we doing here? The only thing he gives this team is injury insurance. I actually feel bad in saying that the Colts will be lucky to win 8 games if Jones beats out Richardson. Now, evidently, bringing in Jones is just giving this franchise an excuse to replace Richardson as soon as they think he doesn't play well enough. Like, if you don't want him, let him loose. Don't waste his time. Great way to let him develop is to keep him on as the starter. He should win this job. I don't like the Daniel Jones signing. The cap hit is the biggest argument against this signing, just because I would have rather wanted to see as much cap space used as possible to improve this roster. The $14 million that they're spending on Daniel Jones to be a spot starter on backup, that's going to push Anthony Richardson. That's just outrageous to me. That could have been used to maybe get another guard or an offensive lineman, more offensive line help. You could have went out there and got a free agent tight end or a veteran linebacker on the market. I come to the fact of the player himself. When I look at Daniel Jones, and when I look at what Daniel Jones has put on film the last 2 seasons or so, and I look at just what this offense can be with Anthony Richardson, if they be patient and give him the time necessary to develop into somebody, personally, I think you could have done without Daniel Jones. What are the Colts doing here? That is my question. Does Chris Baller want to get fired? Because it seems like he's making a move that's a very fireable offense. So, I mean, this is why the Colts are in the situation that they're in year after year. This is exactly why. This right here. This right here. All right, everyone. Really appreciate the love and support. Thanks for watching. Thanks for taking the time to check out the content. Love y'all. It's been real, but I'm getting out of here now. We'll talk again very soon. You guys know where you guys can find me. You guys can find me on TikTok, the Sports Judge 85. You guys can look me up on Instagram, Sports Judge 85. You guys can find me right here on the YouTube channel as well. And you guys can also keep up with me on Facebook. I got a fan page on Facebook. Make sure you check it out. Like and follow there as well. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for your boy, man. I'm closing in on 1,500 subscribers at YouTube. It is amazing stuff, man. So do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button. But we'll talk again very soon. You guys enjoy the rest of your night. See you guys next time. Take care, everyone.